Hello, everyone. I'm Paula Garrison, and I will be doing the daily Lenten Bible reading out of Matthew chapter 5 for today, Friday, February 16th. Chapter 5 in the book of Matthew is where Jesus begins the Sermon on the Mount to his disciples, which was his most famous sermon he preached. This is where Jesus gives the Beatitudes, which was telling us what we should be like as Christ's followers. It tells how God will bless those who lives as he instructs. Here are some key scriptures that spoke to my heart. In verse 3, he begins with, "We are all spiritually poor and need to realize our desperate need for God, for our reward will be the kingdom of heaven." The world wants to tell us that we can do it all on our own because we have too much pride, but we all need constant faith in God to receive the salvation he offers us. In verse 9, those who work for peace will be called children of God. Our world can be so chaotic, and it's sometimes hard to find calmness in our own personal lives. This tells me that peace is found only in God, not in worldly pleasures where things are so disordered. In this peace, we can have pure hearts, which mentions in verse 8, God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. This says to me, seeing God's love for the world. In verses 13 through 16 is where Jesus speaks about salt and light. In verse 13 it says, "You are the salt of the earth. But what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless." This says to me that in my daily walk with Jesus, I need to strive to be my best as a Christian and be the salt of the earth and not lose my Christian values and not turn to worldly desires or earthly rewards. In verses 14 through 16, it says, "You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father." This says to me that any of us as Christians can show our light by doing what is right and staying away from sin. Also, it says to me to help others in need, to show others what Christ is like. If we live for Christ, then others will see that bright light to righteousness in our attitudes and our behaviors. Chapter 5 ends with verses 21 through 47, where Jesus points out what kinds of lives are required of his followers. He points out to avoid anger and hatred, having good relationships with God and others, keep our hearts from lusting and be faithful, live out marriage commitments, keep our vows, our word to God, and show mercy and love to others. As I read these verses and studied them, the word prayer came to mind, thanking God for his protection and asking for his guidance in all I do. And summing up this chapter on how I feel like this was helpful in my daily life would be for me to be obedient to God and have a true relationship with him. We have to live for our God and not the world, despite our trials, because our best reward is yet to come. Thank you all, and I hope you all have a blessed day.